Hello and welcome to another Opium Pulses unboxing. This, if you've seen the previous videos, is now our fourth Running with Scissors / Postal unboxing video, and likely this time very much will be our last unless the quality of Postal 4 picks up and there is more impressive limited editions out there. But I don't see that happening, at least not for the next couple of years. So this time we're doing something a little bit special, which is special in that it's not really shown that much, especially not on English channels, because it's a Russian exclusive. So this is the Postal 3 limited edition. Now, I bought this many years ago, sealed. I believe it is still sealed. It's in a box that I have opened. So we're going to dive into this and talk a little bit about what the contents are. I believe everything is in Russian, so we'll try and talk through what's in there as much as possible from an English standpoint. And then I'll open up the, you would have seen the stuff behind you if you've seen some of our previous videos. I'll open up the sort of English version of Postal 3 so you can see the difference really between these two releases, because they are quite a lot different. So let's just get this out of here. Now, I can't remember where or when I bought this. It was at least a few years ago, and I can't remember what site I bought it on. Have I opened it? Yeah. But it came in some shaver box, looking like it has some sort of Nokia branding. Inside, you can see it's got the original packaging, and it is still sealed to this day. Is that just packaging as well? Yeah. We'll put that aside. Now, I don't remember spending too much money on this. I think maybe no more than £50, so no more than about 60 US dollars, and potentially even less than that. Like, they're rare to find online, but when you find them, they're for some reason not that expensive. It's very bizarre. But, you know, considering they're a Russian import, and I can't imagine many of these were made at the same time. Now, there is another edition that comes in a big pink box that has a crotchy doll. If you've seen our other videos, you'd have seen that we also have that crotchy doll. So there's not really much. I think you get a few other documentations in the pink box, but I've never been able to find that edition. And I guess if I ever do, maybe we'll do an unboxing of that as well. But a big part of what comes in that pink box is this. So this is the lion's share of the content that you get in it. So you can see, not particularly sure what this says, and I don't know why it has these scissors cut out marks on here. I guess maybe it's a tie-in with Running with Scissors, but it just seems a bit odd. The game obviously made and published by Akela, which is or was Running with Scissors' publishing partner in Russia for the Postal games, even for the previous ones. And then you got Thrashmasters, which I think were a big part of the development. Has 4 discs, just has the Source logo there because the game is made on the Source engine. It's the only Postal game that is. And it has the Running with Scissors and Akela logos there. On the back here, again, there's Russian text, so it's, unless you can speak or read it, that might not mean much to you. A couple of screenshots from the game, and then from what we can determine here, it's got the install and play disc. I believe this is a making of Postal 3, and then the soundtrack, or one of those says either or. Then there is some sort of crotchy related content in there. I guess that's a booklet, and then that looks like a map to me. Some other logos down here. I can't really explain any of them. I guess obviously you've got the NVIDIA physics because it does use that in the game. But I don't know what these other logos are. FHM is an odd one. So maybe that means something to some of you. At the bottom here, I guess that means there's drugs. Is that a toilet? No, it's a lady, so I guess nudity. Yeah, I don't know what most of this means. I guess bad language, violence. We don't typically see these types of logos on games. Maybe these are Russian exclusives, I'm not sure. So anyway, let's stop messing around. Let's get it open. I'm going to try and keep the film on because while they're not super... This might be harder than I thought. While they're not super expensive, they are hard to come by, so I wouldn't want to have to replace this at any point. It seems to have film of steel. Okay, maybe that's enough. I won't be editing this video much, so you're going to have to just put up with this, I'm afraid. But at least it's somewhat better if you're an English speaker than watching the Russian videos where you can't really hear what's being said or explained. Although I wish I could, because they'd be able to explain much more of the contents than I could. So, that'll do. We'll leave the rest of the film on, just to keep it a bit more protected, because it's not the sturdiest of packaging. Leather. Action. Anyway. Oh, that is not what you like to see. Now, for a game, if you don't know much about this, that has quite a rough development cycle. It was passed between developer and developer and moved down the sort of skill levels of the development team sort of working on it based on the recession making the funding of the game pretty limited. I'm surprised that limited editions, not only one, but two, were actually produced, because you'd think the money situation would make it hard to fund such editions. Anyway, before we start opening anything up, let's look at the box. Now, I've always been quite keen of the Postal 3 artwork. I'm not sure who was responsible, but I'm sure it was more running with scissors than a colour. But yeah, I just really like their artwork. I think it suits Postal really well. On the back here, you can see it says main track, so this must be the soundtrack. And I guess because they're artists, a lot of them are in English, a lot of them not. I think most people who know anything about Postal 3 will admit the theme tune is pretty catchy. So Patrick Jones, well done on that. You made one of the better things about the game. But yeah, you can see some more of the artists if you wanted to look them up. A Full to Break is a pretty big, I guess, sort of new metal alternative rock band, and they do a lot of tracks for Postal, even for Postal 4, so they're worth checking out. They have quite a few albums out. Anyway, there's, I guess, not much else we can look at there. Here we have a booklet with one of the monkeys on the back. Are you going to focus on the monkey? Oh, it does not like this monkey. There we go. And in here, again, all in Russian. But, it's full colour. It's like glossy, well produced. Like this is not a cheap manual or booklet, whatever you want to call it, at all. This had some love put into it. You can tell the people that took this license to make this game from Running with Scissors had a lot of love for the series and weren't cheaping out and just doing the worst they could, as much as that might be the perception online. I feel like they actually wanted to make the best Postal game they possibly could, and just financial problems and a global recession hit them harder than maybe they were anticipating. And I think if this game had another year in the oven, it actually might be, one of the better games in the series. It would have at least been second to Postal 2. And in my opinion, I actually have a bit of a soft spot for this game and do believe that it holds a lot more value than most people give it, particularly now that the game it was at one point delisted from Steam, and it's now made its way back. So, there might be a fan base that starts to develop around this game that had never touched it before because of the delisting. So this is a sort of, this, I think, on the back showed it as a map. So let's just get this open. Here you can see it seems to be a map of Darcis, which is where Postal 3 is based. And it's cool and everything. Again, all in Russian, so take of that what you will. But I don't like this sort of almost like these Lego type buildings with their unique colours. I guess that shows all the different districts, but it just lacks that sort of attention to detail that I think would have made this map really cool. But it at least is easy to read. I guess if you are in one of these areas, it might be easy to tell where you are. There's numbered buildings. I guess they're the ones you can enter, such as the mall and stuff like that. So it serves a purpose, but I just think it could have done with a little bit more attention to detail to make it really stand out. And then on the back, we've got sort of, I guess, posters and news clippings and all sorts from the world of Postal 3. It's even got, I think, this down here in the middle is from the movie, at least artwork to publicise the movie. But yeah, again, I really liked the sort of comic booky, almost like a Sunday night cartoon style of Postal 3. And I think it's got style, even if it doesn't maybe have the substance to back it up. But again, if you are Russian and you're watching this and any of this means anything to you, maybe pop in the comments anything that you took note of that you thought was particularly worthy of pointing out. But otherwise, it's just fun to look at as an English-only speaker. I guess that's all we get from it. Boo-hoo. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this at the start, but this was not released in any English-speaking countries, neither North America, Europe, UK, nowhere. So this is a, you know, all things considered, a Russian exclusive, because the game does have a really big fan base in Russia, probably bigger than anywhere else in the world. So they got all the goodies. They got the pink box, they got this. They even got some sort of special editions of Postal 2 when that came out. So thanks, Russia, for caring about the game more than we do, I guess, and allowing us to siphon these goodies away from your country and put them on some English-speaking YouTube channel. Anyway, let's open this one up. So immediately, that's not great. So the discs, just at least the bonus discs, just come in these flimsy plastic packaging. This says audio CD, so again at the top it says a soundtrack. Don't know why my camera's, like, it's pretty obvious what's the forefront here. Yeah, again, the artwork is what we should expect. And then we have a crotchy magnet. Just fun. I have a lot of other crotchy stuff, but not a magnet. And then another bonus disc here. It's kind of stuck to the other disc. It's not what you like to see. Here is this particularly cool artwork. You don't see this often in Postal. And it says here, making of. So I'm assuming that's all in Russian. I might check it out later and see. But it'd be cool if there's a re-upload of this somewhere with English subtitles. If any Russians are watching this and no one else has done it yet, please do. I'm sure it would get quite a few watches because, again, the development of this game is a bit of a rocky one. And then here we have disc 1 and 2. I guess one of them is for the installation and one of them is for playing the game. And then we've got some pretty... There's the Postal Dude artwork at the back there. And then... oh, there's a Steam key there, so I'll cover that. And then you've got... I don't know what these are supposed to represent. You know, the good side and the bad side of the dude, maybe? Because there was a morality system, broken as it was in Postal 3. So maybe that's what they were going for there. It's kind of cool. I imagine it's sort of like how, you know, Paradise Lost has Rick Hunter and Tori Crews as the two different, you know, one of them being the real embodiment of the dude and one of them being the, I guess, the mental illness, or I guess the consciousness of the dude. So that is pretty much all you get. I guess the main draws being, I guess, maybe the making of and the soundtrack. At least the soundtrack can be enjoyed by non-Russian speakers, but I'm assuming that that making of is not for our ears. And as if you wanted to see more Postal related stuff, we've got the 20th anniversary edition box set here and the 10th anniversary edition box set here. And then I've also got another video that combines them both with a bunch of other goodies that I've accumulated over the time. So I don't think I'll be doing another video to accumulate them. I just wanted to show this now that Postal 3 is getting a bit of a breath of life. And if you wanted to own the game now with a bunch of fixes, a lot of they've reintroduced content that was only for Russian pre-order, like certain weapons and stuff. You can buy it now on Steam. I think it's £4.99. And you can also buy it on the Zoom platform, which I would like to give a shout out to because they are the people behind the new fixes to the game that allowed it to be redistributed on places like Steam. So if you want a DRM-free copy of the game with all of the fixes from the people that were responsible for fixing this game up, Google Zoom platform. It's a bit like Good Old Games in that it sells DRM-free copies of games. They have all of the Postal games up, and if you're into Duke Nukem, they also have a distribution license to sell the classic Duke Nukem games as well as Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition. So you can avoid that 25th anniversary edition if that's not what you're into. And they have a bunch of other old games as well, and they're just a great bunch of guys that care a lot about preserving old games. And again, I wanted to give them a shout out just in case you were in the market to pick up a copy of Postal 3 and give it a go. Just quickly before we end this video, I'd like to say I do think Postal 3 is actually a pretty good game compared to Postal 4, which I've never really been a big fan of, but besides being a very big fan of Running with Scissors. I've always played the Postal games all the way back from the original, really enjoyed their content. I think they're cool guys as well, but I think Postal 4 just has a lot of obstacles making it become a great and true sequel to Postal 2. despite their attempts to try their best to emulate the lightning in a bottle that was Postal 2. I think this game has a lot of the style, a lot of the atmosphere of Postal. It's just half-baked in terms of quality control. Hopefully now that the fixes are out, which aren't, they aren't exhaustive. The game still is a bit of a mess. Hopefully now people can enjoy it from start to finish and experience as much as they can from Postal 3 without uninstalling after the first mission. Anyway, that's just one man's take. I know that Postal 3 has quite a reputation, but if you were interested at all and your interest stops here, no problem. But if you wanted to go and seek it out, it's now on sale for a reduced price, and you can experience it for yourself. Thanks for watching, and maybe we'll see you again with more Postal content. If not, stay tuned for more rare and limited edition unboxings. Thank you very much. Welcome back. While editing, I realised I forgot to show the English version of the game, which which was situated in my crotchy box in the background there. So, just briefly, this is what was released, at least, I guess, in Europe. I pre-ordered this before the game came out from the Running with Scissors website, and this is what arrived. I don't know if the same is in North America. Again, the artwork is probably my favourite from the whole series, and they still seem to use it this day, even when not associated with Postal 3 stuff. But you can at least get some English text here on the back about how they were promoting the game to English players, or at least English-speaking players. And a lot of this might just be roughly translated in the Russian versions. But again, very basic stuff. Comes with an install and a play disc. And I believe this actually was just installation for the Steam version, which could be the case in the limited edition as well. There was no actual way to play this, I don't think, just from the disc. I could be wrong. I'd like to be corrected about that. But you can get DRM-free versions of the game, as previously explained, and I think maybe even one of the physical, maybe even this has a physical, a DRM-free version. I'm not actually sure. But here, I don't know if it's easy to tell, but this doesn't line up, so you either have it overlapped at the top or you have it overlapped at the bottom, which obviously eventually will just cause scuffing. So it's not even particularly well designed. You can see here that it's out, but here it's actually lined up perfectly. So I guess this was really scurrily put together by Running with Scissors themselves, who probably had less money for the production of these items. So I just wanted to show, for comparative reasons, what you would have got in an English-speaking country, whether that's US or Europe, and what you would have got in Europe, in Russia, where there's obviously a lot more love for the game and where the money was during production. Thanks for watching, and apologies for leaving that out of the original video.